It's absolutely gorgeous here. Peaceful. There's a little bit of wind, but not too much. I love the autumn. It's my favorite season, right next to a good, cold, snowy winter. Yesterday I went out for a walk to photograph the beautiful autumn colors reflecting in the sun and to bask in the beauty of one of my two favorite seasons. As I was sitting on the rocks looking out at the bay, I vaguely recalled a memory that was stored in the cobwebs of the dark corners of the recesses of my mind. I thought to myself, I remember so many years ago when I used to become gripped with an overpowering depression and doom every single autumn. And I remember one year I wrote an account of what that felt like to me. And I thought, I want to find that writing and I want to read it. And I want to compare my autumns now with my autumns then, because I was a completely different person back then, and my life was completely different, and I am so grateful for the way my life has changed, or the way that I've managed to change it and get to where I am. I wrote this in October of 2005. When I was living in Finland. Finnish autumn. The Finnish autumn is setting in again, and with it, the usual feeling of emotional desolation, fear, loneliness, and despair come creeping inside me, morning by morning, more intensely with each passing day. What is it about the dark morning chill that seems to torment me with my solitude and to fill me with a feeling of emptiness? What is it about the Nordic autumn that causes my thoughts to turn to dying and fills my once passion-filled heart with a desperate fear that all society, all family, all humanity has left me behind and forgotten me? I wake up alone in my bed morning after morning, like every day of every season, but only with the onset of autumn does the full reality of my alienation and estrangement in this world come crashing down on me, filling me with an ever-increasing feeling of despair and loneliness, replacing my hopes and sense of meaning with a desperate sense of abandonment. The dawn comes later and later. The darkness extends ever farther into the day, ever so gradually snuffing out the light of life, and the chill in the air. How do these things bear with them, these desperate emotions, and place them into my heart? And why am I always alone? Why always left alone and abandoned? This time last year, I sunk into a deep depression for weeks. The week prior to and of Arafat's death, I cried profusely every day. I don't even know why. There was no logic. I could not control my tears, and, of course, being alone, there's never a need to even try. This year I'm so much better. My depression was so severe last autumn, and my inexplicable crying so frequent and intense, that it drove me right into the arms of my fiancé, at least in my imagination. Still now, I am only in his arms in my imagination, but at least we are close in heart and in mind. That is the only thing that keeps me from falling apart again. I am still left with an intense loneliness and a yearning to be with him that is tearing at me more and more each autumn day, and the fear growing in me of the autumn's foreboding of a cold, dark, and wintry death. Will he and I ever meet? And that's where it ends. And as I read this today, different thoughts occur to me. The first obvious observation of note I make is that the biggest changes I've made in my life are my perspectives. I still wake up morning after morning alone in bed. Despite this fact, I have never felt happier, and when I wake up alone in bed, I never feel alone. Likewise, from one perspective, an objective normal person would say I'm alienated and estranged from society, because I am. But I love being alone. It's my choice, unless and until I would meet someone I'd like to spend time with, who likewise wants to spend time with me. This is to say that many of my circumstances are the same today as they were in 2005, when I was at the height of my suicidal depression. Yet I don't see those circumstances through the same eyes as I did back then. The second thought that comes to mind concerns this alleged fiancé I refer to. That was the situation from hell that precipitated my massive emotional breakdown in 2008. As I read my words today, I feel a little bit sad for the girl I was back then. Today I can see that while claiming to be abandoned by all others, that girl was abandoning herself all along by trying to hide in the shadow of a man to avoid confronting the reality of the pain of her past, which had led to her self-loathing. I hated what I believed I was, and so I felt I needed to find a man who could take care of the worthless, undeserving waste of space that I thought I was. Over the course of the last 13 years, I've succeeded in beating a suicidal depression that lasted 21 years. I made peace with both of my parents, and I discovered more about who I am than I can even say. I got to know myself through confronting the several decades of pain I had behind me and uncovering the me who had been cowering beneath all of that pain. And today I love where I am. Back in 2005, when I wrote that text, I was living in a nightmare, a hellish, dark, frightening nightmare. And I had been living in that nightmare essentially all of my life. Today, by contrast, my life is good. I'm grateful for all of the things I have and all of the help I receive. And absolutely best of all is that as a result of my persistent spiritual practices and drive to understand and achieve love, unconditional love, I have succeeded in doing that, by which I mean I now have access at any time I want to an overwhelming energy of unconditional love that makes romantic love seem like something very dark and something I don't want, because I call it love in a box. Any kind of human love is love in a box, and I have access to what I call big love, because I don't know what else to call it. It's so overwhelming and beautiful, and that's why I'm happy today.